In the history of cinema, there have been many well-known innovators. D.W. Griffith, Busby Berkeley, Alfred Hitchcock, Federico Fellini, Francis Ford Coppola, and Quentin Tarantino. One name that is rarely mentioned is Denton Maytag, a 1970s cinematographer that revolutionized the business and art of cinema with his extensive use of the establishing shot. An enigmatic figure, well known among his peers, he is an unsung hero to the film-going public. Through his work, he revolutionized the use of the establishing shot, changing the shape, the tenor, and the economics of filmmaking in the 20th century. His story sounds like a script from a 1950s potboiler. Born in 1955, he was left on the doorstep of a convent in Sandusky, Ohio. He was raised by nuns in the Order of Perpetual Indifference. His name was given to him accidentally, as the Mother Superior that was filling out the paperwork for the orphanage called out to the nun bathing him in the laundry room, inquiring if there was a note or anything in the blanket the infant was wrapped in. At that same moment, there were some delivery men in the process of clumsily unloading a new washing machine. The nun in the other room called out, "Denton Maytag." And that is what the Mother Superior wrote on his birth certificate. Growing up in the orphanage, Denton was an intense and curious child. Looking out the window of the orphanage, a young Denton had a detachment from the world around him. When he was 13, a benefactor of the orphanage donated a Hasselblad camera, and Denton became fascinated with it. The Sisters of Perpetual Indifference allowed him to photograph events at the orphanage and convent. At the age of 16, he had taken a series of photographs of the nuns in various poses and activities. A journalist from a scandal magazine called Suppressed was passing through Sandusky and used a local lab to develop his photos. He chatted up Denton after seeing his photos of nuns and convinced him to sell the negatives for a mere $27 and 5 rolls of Kodachrome film. The pictures were then published in an exposé called The Secret Life of Nuns. The Catholic Church came down hard on the Sisters of Perpetual Indifference, and it was decided that Denton must leave the orphanage. He was given $250, a suitcase, and was allowed to keep his camera. With nowhere else to go, he boarded a bus for New York City, and after a few years of taking pictures for advertisements and a portrait studio, he started filming commercials and industrial films, leading him to Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, Denton meets the budding Polish filmmaker Witold Piroshki. Their first movie together, Nobody Here or There, was a surprise hit in the art cinema. It became an art house classic and laid the groundwork for Maytag's future career. Shortly after, Maytag had a falling out with Piroshki over the profits from the film. Maytag then made it his aim to work in the studio system. His first blockbuster movie was Amish Heat, a movie best known for the famous pitchfork battle between rival Amish patriarchs played by Burt Lancaster and James Caan. Denton saved the studio hundreds of thousands of dollars by revising the script and cutting out expensive scenes requiring Amish men driving horse and buggies, and early morning barn racing, and pitching hay in 90-degree heat. Instead, filming one long 45-second establishing shot, which transformed the economics of 70s filmmaking and would become his trademark establishing shot. The body of work that most cinephiles associate with Maytag's signature style would have to be his police action dramas of the early 80s. Gritty, bare bones, and with plenty of dark, brooding scenes, many had the lighting style of a dimly lit cathedral, certainly a nod to his early childhood spent among nuns and priests.
You can't talk about Denton Maytag's career without mentioning Catholic Cops. The imagery and the tonality of that movie alone shows you that his relationship with the Catholic Church is very deep and quite dark. Maytag got typecast as the cinematographer for Catholic Cops, and ultimately he was pigeonholed into doing 1980s courtroom dramas and cop shows. It's kind of falls into obscurity after that.
After his work on Order in the Court, Maytag's career careens off into bizarre directions, involving a stint in Jamaica, where he became immersed in the rude boy ska culture of the 1980s. A kinship with Penthouse publisher Bob Guccione, which came about from their mutual interest in nuclear fusion, led to his eventual departure from the U.S. and immigration to Thailand. His last mainstream film, creating a series of establishing shots, is Bull Market Brannigan, a minor hit in 1994, starring Bill Pullman and Annabella Sciorra. At this point in the story, it is where life imitates art. Denton Maytag, after emigrating to Southeast Asia, becomes involved in shorting stocks, much like the main character in Bull Market Brannigan. Capitalizing on the fears of Y2K in 1998 and 1999, It is rumored that Maytag has made hundreds of millions of dollars buying options on stocks related to computer security, airlines, and apiary equipment. He falls off the map in Hollywood, and there are only vague rumors about his whereabouts. It is not until 2014, when the early days of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, that his name is brought up as one of the leading backers of the new currency. The mystery deepens as news stories about Satoshi and a group of cryptocurrency founders are picked up by the mainstream media. While there have been no confirmed reports of Denton Maytag's whereabouts, one thing is certain. He remains one of the great unsung heroes of modern cinema, reviled by many actors who suffered a loss of screen time and hailed by studio chiefs as a wizard in bringing movies in on time and under budget.